So I definitely was not good at it for my first month. I kind of understand. I'm just one of those people where for some reason it just takes me a couple months to really figure something out, but I just know for a fact I'm gonna like do well in it just once I like hit that point.
Yep.
So it was a slow start. I sold like well, I mean, I guess it just depends on what you're looking at, but I guess I sold like 13,000 IP or AP or whatever like came on the leaderboard IP for
Hmm.
August. And then after every single month after that was like 30K plus. One month was a little bit under, but yeah, it was more, I don't know. I had to figure out how to talk to people on the phone. I mean, it's like when you're on the phone and you're not face to face, the only thing you have is your tone. So it's like how you're saying things. And so I definitely just like wasn't very confident. And I'd say those are like the two biggest things in this job that matter is like being able to speak to someone confidently and have them be like, all right, this guy knows what he's talking about, which builds a lot of trust or makes them feel comfortable with a lot of things.
Hmm.
And then, just your tone, the way you're saying certain things is gonna make people open up a certain way or have them be more intrigued or have them understand like, oh shoot, maybe I do have a problem and, we need to do something about this. So that was the hardest thing for me to really like dial in was, not just answering objections, but more so speaking in a way to prevent a lot of objections, I think is
So
kind of,
prevent the objections before they become objections.
yeah.
Yeah. Give us an example of that.
So here's like a good example. I guess it's like, everyone in this business is going to get social and banking objections. And so I've noticed you can do a lot to prevent it. Number one, and you can't necessarily teach this that much. It's just more so like the repetition, but it's like when you're confident and you know what you're talking about, it takes so many objections out of there because they're just like they catch the vibe like, oh, this guy knows what he's talking about. He's professional. He's asking me as soon as I tell him I have neuropathy, he's like, oh, you taking gabapentin or pregabalin? It's like those are the little things that start to make someone be like, oh, this guy like knows what the heck he's talking about. Like I trust
Hmm.
him, and that that builds. But anyways, it's like when I'm addressing the MIB report or the fact that they're going to look at their social, it's early on in the sales call before I go over benefits or quotes, and I'm like, yeah, John, sure you're familiar with how life insurance works. It's not always as easy as just picking out an option and buying it. You do actually have to get approved for the coverage. So what the carriers are doing nowadays, they look at your MIB report. It's basically a compilation of medical records and prescriptions. That's how they're going to decide whether or not they want to approve you for the coverage. So it's like I'm bringing that up before I drop quotes, go into an application. When I get to the social, it's like, all right, John. So Aetna, they're going to run the MIB report that I was talking about earlier. This is where they're going to verify your identity, but also how they make sure that all the questions that that we answer here on the form actually line up with your medical records as well. Boom, boom. You said you're like 5'8", 200. Cool. And can you confirm your social? Bang. And honestly, that's one thing I got from Tom, just super random. Like, I don't know. I'm big on like language and just the way you say things. And I don't know why, but I love saying like, can you confirm your social is so
Hmm.
different than saying like, what's your social? Like, I don't know what it is. It's like psychological, like you already have it or something. You're like, oh,
Hmm.
can you confirm your social? Boom. So, anyways, I say all that to say like that's an example of like you set that up early on in the call, the fact you explain the MIB and how it works. So then when you get to the social, you're like, oh yeah, remember that MIB we were talking about earlier? Yes, cool. That's going to happen right now. So when you're asking for the social, they're like understanding why they're giving you the social, and it's not
Hmm.
some random dude over the phone just asking for a social. Like
Yeah.
that's what
Yeah.
I've noticed.
Can you
Yeah.
confirm your social? That if you haven't written that down or texted it to yourself, I would definitely do that, guys, because I'm not saying that. And I'm always curious, I go, why did I stumble there? So to say something like, can you confirm your social? It's just like so natural, oh yeah, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, so that makes a whole lot of sense for sure. So so let's go because obviously everyone loves laydowns, everyone loves layups, slam dunks, easy apps. Um, Talk to us about like so when you're talking about the MIB report, like you get like talk to us in earlier on in the presentation where you might get some pushback early, okay, on well, what do you mean they're going to look at that and like do they ask like well how are they going to look at it? And you're like well they're going to look at it by doing this? Like, do they ask any questions earlier on that you have to like dig a little bit deeper on, Logan?
For that specific example, like not really.
Hmm.
And once again, it's like it's sometimes hard to like train on things because it's just like how you say something. It's like when you are saying something to someone very confidently and you have like structured yourself as this like authoritative figure, it's like they just kind of go along with what you're saying. Something that maybe we can get a takeaway from this. Someone recently told me this. They're like, dude, most people are in W-2 jobs. They spent their whole life with a boss and someone telling them what to do. So it's like if you don't take the role on the phone of this like authoritative figure that just kind of like go do this, go do that, here's how this is going to work. It's
Hmm.
like they actually respond to that better because it's like they've been trained their whole life to respond like that. And so sometimes it's kind of scary to say that, but it's like, yeah, we'll get to banking. And I'm like, boom. I'm like, go get your checkbook. Not like, can you get your checkbook? It's like, go grab your checkbook or go do this or that. And it's like, obviously, I'm not being like rude about it, but it is like this just confident, kind of like, all right, cool. Yeah, yeah, go ahead and grab that for me. And then, we'll knock this part out. And,
Hmm.
um, but let's see. I mean, no, they people don't really dig into it that much. I just explained to them. I said, hey, this is what's going to happen. They're going to run this MIB report. Sometimes people will say stuff. They're like, oh, I thought there wasn't any health questions or da 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 da. And
Yep.
I
Yep.
always and how I always explain that I go, look, John, like the health questions are only in your best interest. Any insurance company that's not asking health questions is just giving you guaranteed coverage. And so with that, with you getting guaranteed coverage, obviously it's going to be more expensive as well as having a 2-year waiting period, which I'm assuming that's probably not what you're looking for, right? No, I don't
No.
want a 2-year
No.
wait. Exactly. So John, we're on the same team here. Like I'm asking you these questions so I can help you find the best possible rate that you can actually get. And then it's like, boom, we're on the same team. This isn't like a head to head.
Yeah, no doubt. Because at the end of the day, they're looking to solve their problem with no coverage, and you're the only person that can solve it for them. How do you overcome the I want to think about it um, objection later? How do you handle that earlier?
Yeah, I love that question. That's the biggest objection in this industry, 100%, like 100%. So the first thing I do is I just kind of role played it a little bit, but I almost like empower them in a way where I early like when I explain the MIB, I'm like, John, I'm sure you're familiar with this sort of stuff. You already have a policy by now, like you already have a policy or whatever. I'm sure you're familiar. It's not always as easy as just picking out an option and buying it. You know what I mean? It's like you actually have to get approved with it. And when I assume that they know that, it just gives them more room to be like, oh, yeah, yeah, of course. You know what I mean? It's like they want to
Hmm.
meet me there and be like, yeah, yeah, of course, I understand that. So it's like we already addressed that. So it's like when I drop quotes, and one more thing I'll touch on before that, it's like also it's like when you're finding a need, I do not like progressing in my sales presentation until like we are on the same page that there is like a problem here. It's like this isn't like a spray and pray, try to drop quotes 100 times a day and hope someone buys it. It's like no, like we need to figure out the exact reason someone's looking for insurance, and we might have to help them get there, and we need to build a gap of like here's where you are, here's where you want to be, we need to close this gap, because if that doesn't get established, then that's when you're getting those like I need to think about it. So it's like when I've built that gap and we've broken down like, oh cool, so you don't have any coverage right now, and if you were to pass, is the goal here to make sure that Julie, your wife, doesn't just have to come out of pocket to pay for all of that? Yeah. Okay. So it's like, boom, we've established like, here's the need. So when I drop quotes and someone's like, oh, I just need to think about it, my attitude is I'm like, what are we talking about? There's nothing to think about. And I like, all, it's like a personality thing, but like I will start like going, like I will battle with people, and I do it in a respectful way, but it's because I believe in what I do. And it's like, dude, if you're gonna sit there and tell me that you don't have anything put in place to cover your burial, you have a problem, I have the solution, I give you the solution, and you're telling me you want to think about it, what are we talking about? That doesn't make any sense at all. And so that has to be the attitude going in, is like I will never accept that as the answer. I will keep pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing until I figure out what the true objection is, because that is always a surface level objection. It typically means there's something else, whether that's affordability, whether that's we didn't do a good enough job early on in the call really establishing the need. And so it's like the more I'll just kind of like pick at it, it's just water under the bridge. Like I'm always just like, all right, I mean, yeah, obviously you got to think about it. And John, to be honest, there's nothing to really think about because we're not even approved for the coverage. So boom. So I just like water under the bridge. I'm like, there's nothing to think about because you're not approved. So there is nothing. Like, so, and then I just reclose. I'm like, so kind of looking between the options here, between the 30, the 20, and the 10,000. If we did get approved at those preferred rates, which of those do you feel like would be the most comfortable? And typically they'll pick an option. And then I'm just like, cool. Well, I just got to knock out a form with you to see if we can even get you approved with that rate. So we'll just go ahead and knock that out together. And it's like, there's nothing to think about. You're not approved. What are we going to think about something, come back to me and then get denied? It's like, that doesn't make sense. So it's like, that's my whole
Yeah, so like
attitude around that.
when you get that, think about it, you're like, I'm really you're probably thinking like I would be thinking probably F something up in this if they're saying I want to think about it, I probably did something wrong earlier on to even think that they had to think about it. Does that make sense?
Exactly. Yeah.
Because like you said, that gap, right? You didn't fill that gap of, hey, I saw the ad, I clicked on, I clicked on, some person wearing an army t-shirt, Callie wearing a army t-shirt on Facebook, and now I'm talking to you and I'm saying I want to think about it, or I just want quotes or something like, oh, I just called for a quote. So if someone says to you, I'm just calling in to get my quote, what is your knee-jerk reaction response to that, Logan?
Is this like early on in the call or like
Yeah,
at the
yeah,
point
yeah.
where you've
Like,
dropped
like, hey,
quotes?
yeah, like as soon as you get on the call, yeah, Mary, this is Mary. Yeah, hey, Mary, boom, boom. Yeah, I just wanted to get the quotes today.
For sure. So, I mean, every piece of information you get, you got to store it in the back of your head, and it's got to be like, all right, my sales presentation is going to be slightly altered because I now have this piece of information. It's like when someone off rip is like, oh, I'm just looking for quotes.
Mm-hmm.
The key is, I think in sales and whatever, there's a lot of keys, but is just like always being extremely disarming. Like I'm just really big on like if someone comes at me like hot right off the bat with an objection or whatever the case may be, it's always just like, yeah, no, not a problem. I mean, obviously, like, of course we're looking for quotes. It's like, and our attitude as salespeople needs to be like, our job as a salesperson is to help someone get from the mindset of just like thinking about it or wanting a quote to getting the product and fixing their problem. So it's like when someone says that, it's like, sure, there's a part of me that's just like, one of these people. But then my thought is like, all right, I need to do an extra good job of really finding a need and building that need and continuing to help them understand what is going to happen if we do not fix that problem. So then when we get to the quotes, and we take a look at them once again, it's I have the attitude of like, all right, well, what's the point of sitting 15 minutes on the phone to get quotes if we're not going to find out if we actually get approved for the coverage? You know what I mean? And then it's just like one step to the next, and you'd be surprised of how many people are like just wanting to think about it or just wanting quotes, and then they get approved for coverage and you wrap it up in a good way and you're like, man, like how does it feel to get that taken care of? And they're just like, oh, it feels so good, I've been looking at this stuff forever and da 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 da, and it's like, boom, you've solved their problem, you've put a solution right in front of their face, and it's like, why are we not going to take advantage of that as
Yeah.
the customer? It's like, why wouldn't they?
So Jaden asked, how do you overcome the call me back later, I'm busy objection when they answer the phone? So, because Logan, some of your calls are you're calling appointments that are already set, and some of your calls you're calling for the first time. So when you're calling someone for the first time, ring ring, I answer. You say, "Is this Eric?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm busy. I need you. Can you call me back later?" You take it from there, Logan.
So I'll put it like this. If I can tell that they're like out and about, if they're driving, if they're at the mall, if it's like something that I can just tell it's not a good time for me to try to like do a presentation, then I don't really
Mhm.
want to do a presentation either. So, in that scenario, I'll just be like, here's what I'll say to this question. What we all like need to understand, and something that's helpful to know is it's like there's a billion salespeople out there. There's a billion people selling life insurance. These people get calls 24/7, and we need to separate ourselves from the pack. It's like we have to look like professionals and we have to just operate as professionals, not like every other sales guy that they ever have a conversation with. And so
Okay.
what I mean by that is it's like, what does every salesperson do? Yeah, no worries, John. I'll call you back. What time works for you? It's like, hell no. Like I am the authoritative figure here. I'm the professional. I'm the one that is busy. And it's like, you don't just get to tell me to like call me back or like, oh, I'll call you back. Like it's always like, oh, I'm busy. I'm like, all right, yeah, no problem. Like, let me check my schedule. I'm pretty busy myself. Let's see if I can even squeeze you in anywhere. From there, I'll work to like set an appointment. And then, it's like I'll also let people off the hook. It's like, all right, John, so I got you down for 2 p.m. tomorrow. If I do give you a call back about this, is this something that you actually want me to call you back on or maybe not? And what does that do in their head? It's like you're just giving them a buying atmosphere right off the bat. And you're like, look, dude, I don't care if you want this insurance or not. I personally don't care. So when you like give them the freedom to be like, oh, this person can just cross me off, it actually makes them more intrigued. And they'll either tell you, they'll be like, yeah, just cross me off. I'm not even interested. Or they'll be like, no, no, yeah, call me tomorrow at 2. And I'm like, all right, cool. Can I count on you to be there at 2? Because I got a lot going on. So I put you down. Is that going to work? All right, cool. We'll talk at 2. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And it's like they are just going into that call with just the mindset of like, damn, this dude, like, you know what I mean? It's just different than the guy who's like, oh yeah, I'll call you back. When does it work well for you? I don't care what works well for you. It depends on what works well for me, because I'm the one that's got the solution to your problem. And it's like I say all this with a lot of arrogance, like over this call, and I'm not quite as like forward as that, but I say this all to help us kind of, start developing the mindset of what we probably need to do to people on
Yeah.
the phone.
Hey, Dean, what part did you want to do again? Dean, you're unmuted. Dean wanted you to say something again, but I
Yeah,
didn't.
I saw the message pop
Oh,
up. I'm trying to remember what I was saying
go
right
ahead,
at
Dean.
that
I'm
point.
sorry.
Sorry, I was trying to click on mute and it was
Yeah, go
messing
ahead.
it up. Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
So, but the beginning part, about calling you back when you said, "Do you want this or not?" Like, can you reword that again? How you said it? Because that was a really good point.
Yeah, so what I say is the thought process in my mind is if I can get through to them that I don't care whether or not they want to buy this insurance, it actually makes the chances of buying the insurance go through the roof, because it's like no one wants to deal with a desperate salesperson or
Right?
someone who like needs the sale. So I just am like upfront about it. I'm just like, all right, John, like, so I'll be like, yeah, can you call me later? I might be able to. I got a lot going on. Like, let me pull up my schedule real quick. I mean, I have some availability here later. Are you going to be free like later this afternoon or later this evening? Boom, boom, whatever. So I try to book them in. If we agree on an appointment time, let's say like, oh, 6 p.m. tomorrow. I'm like, all right, John, I got you in at 6 p.m. tomorrow. And if I do give you a call back, John, is this something that you're actually, looking at, or should I just go ahead and close out your file here? And at that point in time, they're going to either just, and don't be scared to like lose the sale, if you will. It's like if they're not interested, they're just going to tell you right then and there that they don't want anything to do with you. And then it's like once you've positioned yourself like that and given them the out, it actually makes them kind of be like, no, I actually like, I do want this, or like, no, please like call me back. And then it just makes your appointment like stronger as well. So it kind of
Yeah.
works in
See, I
your
like that.
favor.
I've been in this business for a long time, and I've never heard that approach. That it's very, very direct and straight to the point. Like, everybody should utilize that.
Yeah.
Like that. That's a really good point. Thank you for sharing. Also, the same thing with the social. Can you confirm your social for me? Like that is like brilliant.
Yeah,
Like it.
shout out Tom, bro, for real. I saw him in the chat here. Like that was killer. He spoke to us one morning and that was the biggest thing I got. And it was just like, like it's just like it's sometimes the little thing. So shout out Tom for real.
Yeah.
Appreciate
Awesome.
that.
Awesome. Thank you, Dean. Appreciate you. All right. So I wanted to talk a little bit about banking, right? And then I want to talk about how you wrap this whole thing up, and because your persistency is crazy high, Logan. Um, so your profitability is obviously through the roof. I just looked at your numbers: $75,930.88 through week 4. So obviously you have a really good, I'm sure you'll be over 80K. So awesome job to get you to the next bonus number. I was talking to someone about your bonus today, so I don't know if
Yeah,
you,
I
yeah.
appreciate that. We all good. Appreciate you.
Um, so tell us about banking, how you transition that, what that looks like, what kind of weird things happen to you, and how do you overcome them?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. Yeah, the key, I'm always going to say the key. Anyways, a big part of this job is being a great problem solver for sure. And just like thinking on your feet and just like going from a lot of different angles. So with banking, first of all, I really hope this isn't new information for anyone. I haven't been in this industry that long. I showed up, there was a couple guys that were killing it and they were like, do this and I do that. So it's like, I don't know what everyone's doing, but if we're not doing this for banking, this is freaking crucial. So it's like when you get to the banking, how I frame it is I kind of frame it like it's not, we're not like, okay, this is just exactly how I say it. So I'm like, all right, Bill, and then the last step here, this is going to be Virginia's anti-money laundering verification. What this means is they just have to make sure that the name that's on your bank being used to pay for the policy is the same name that's actually on your policy as well. Because if someone else's name was on the bank, we'd actually have to put their information on the application. So, they just make sure. So I guess what was the name of the bank you'd most likely be using for the premiums? Chase Bank. And then I'm like, all right, cool. Is your branch in Virginia? And then on my computer, I look up Chase Bank routing number Virginia. And I'm like, all right, Bill, so 9 times out of 10, my state system here is going to have the correct routing number for you. So if you want to go ahead and pull up your routing number, I'm going to read this off to you and just let me know like if it matches yours. So it's like then they go to get their checkbook or they go to pull up their routing and account number. And I'm like, all right, Bill, you got it? And they're like, yep. I'm like, all right, cool. So the routing number I got here in my state system for Chase is 64232, blah, 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 blah. And then they're always like, yep, that's the same one that I have as well. And I'm like, awesome. And then were you most likely going to use a checkings or savings for the premiums? And they're always like checking. And I'm like, cool. And what's the account number there? And then just like, boom, just like, and it just like warms it up so well. We're like, for some reason, it's like, it's back to the whole social, confirm your social psychology. It's like, it's just
Mhm.
kind of odd to be like, what's your routing and account number? But when you can frame it like that and you already have the routing number and then you give it to them, it verifies, they're kind of like, oh, he already had the routing number. And then when you ask for the account number, it's just not nearly as whatever, as crazy. And then it's like if I do get some pushback with it, I'm like, Bill, like I'll go head to head with people, but just in like a nice way. But like my attitude is just like, are you dumb? Like, and I try to be nice about it, but that's almost the attitude because it's like if we can make someone feel like they're being just like dumb about it, it's kind of like, dude, what are we talking about? It's like obviously they need to make sure that your name is actually on the account that's like being used to pay for the policy. And it's like when you have that like tone of just like almost making them feel like, am I just being like so sketch about this? Then it's like they're just way more likely to give you the information. And
Mhm.
it's like, and I'm not saying like manipulate people into like buying when they don't want it, but it's just like, I can't tell you how many times someone like push back, I'm fighting with them, and then we get them a policy and then they thank me for being like super persistent with them. And I'm like, it's because you believe in what you do. It's like when you truly are like, yo, you need this. It's like, what are we talking about? It's like at the end of the day, we do a good thing and this stuff helps people. And so it's like, we need to have that at the forefront of our minds. And it's like, if you're really trying to serve people, that's going to come off in your tone and that's going to come off in the way that you're speaking to them. And they're going to be a lot more willing to work with you.
Absolutely. So I know you're typically in the office every day. You're in there with Austin, Logan, Roy, Royal, the boys, all the boys that are there, right? Um, what does a typical day look like? When are you in the office? Do you take a break? What does a break look like? When are you done for the day? What does a Saturday and Sunday work schedule look like if you have one? And I want to touch on leads too, and then we'll wrap up with how to keep everything on the books.
Yeah, for sure. So I definitely grind. This is my career. This is my full-time job. Like I'm here to make this happen. And we all know how profitable this business can be. And it's like, if we're not capitalizing on the time that we have now, like what are we doing? I
Mhm.
will say as well, I'm 24. I don't have a family. I'm not married. It's like there's a lot of, the spot I'm at in my life allows me to do this the way that I do it. So it's like, if that's not available to you, whatever. But it's like there's enough time in the day to make it happen. Anyways, so I'm in the office every day or Monday through Friday, no matter what. I am like calling, dialing from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. I break for lunch. I'll get like, maybe I'll go out to lunch. It'll take like 30 minutes to an hour. Maybe I'll just like warm up food in the office and it takes like 30 minutes and I'm back. Like something door to door taught me, it's like, if we are like constantly taking breaks or just like letting our head, like you got to stay in the game. It's like we got to stay in the game. We got to keep the flow state rolling. We got to just like hit it hard, because it's like when your head's in the game, you're coming on the phone at just like your best self. So it's like, no, I'm not like scrolling Instagram randomly halfway throughout my day and letting my mind completely just go out of what I'm doing, or like, no, I'm not taking these long breaks, because all it does is it just gets you out of your flow state. And I'm just big on being able to like capitalize on the time that I have while I'm like the best, version of myself that I can be. So yeah, like to answer that question fully, the only time I'm really breaking is for like lunch. And I think it's important to like obviously take a little bit of time and just chill and, boom, eat lunch and
Yeah.
get back in there. But I do want to say this too. It's like I have a appointment setter. It's just a VA from the Philippines. So it's like nothing outstanding by any means. And it's helpful, but I make 90% of my sales from just dialing. And it's like that's the key, is like we have to be freaking maniacs about dialing. And if we really want to put up like big numbers, like it is like, I don't know. I'm just sitting there like all day long and I'm like, boom, 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 calling. If I have an appointment that's coming up in 5 minutes, guess what I'm doing? I am dialing until the
Dialing.
literal time, because you know how many people don't show up? So many. And my
Mhm.
time is the most important. So it's
Yeah.
like if I get a hold of someone right before my appointment, screw the appointment. It's like I'm on the phone with someone and they're going to buy insurance from me. So it's like that's the attitude we have to have, is it's like we need to be on the phone with someone talking about insurance, and no prospect is like a better prospect. Just because they're on your appointment, like just because they're an appointment does not make them a better prospect. Whoever is on the phone with you is the best prospect.
Yeah,
So
no
that's
doubt.
what that looks like. And then I do work um most Saturdays, but it's like casual, you know what I mean? I'm not trying to hate my life. It's like, I'll pop into the office maybe at like 10:30, 11, and I'll work till like 1 or 2. If I got something going on that Saturday, I won't. And I'm not gonna lie, I really don't sell hardly anything on Saturday, but what it is for me is, it's once again, it's just like the act of keeping my head in the game. It's like when
Mhm.
I'm coming in on a Saturday and just making some dials and at least like giving a sales presentation or 2 or 3, that is just making me go into my Monday even hotter. And you know what I mean? It's just keeping like me immersed in like the life insurance like space, rather than just like turning off my brain and just like partying all weekend and then like showing up on Monday and just being all like, here we go again. You know what I mean? So I'm just big on keeping my head in the game.
Makes
So
sense.
that's
We
what
got
this
we
question.
got 6, 7 minutes left with Logan. Jeremiah, we're going to get to your question for sure. So 9 to 6, half an hour break max. Obviously, you got your pre work day routines. We don't need to get into that. Obviously, you're doing your thing. Um, what put type in the group text, type in the chat thing here, Logan. You're on Instagram and TikTok, or just one of them?
Just Instagram.
Instagram. So if you could put your Instagram handle in here, there you go. Perfect. Nice and easy. Unique last name. You can put in easy stuff. Um, the leads. So what are you doing for leads? What are you getting? What type of lead? Final expense, I know, right? I mean, the majority of your business, it's kind of an even split. You do a lot of Aetna, for sure. Ethos, Corebridge, Mutual, AMM. What kind of leads are you working? I think you're working vet leads, right?
Yeah.
You're working veteran leads. And what would you say on an average month your lead spend is? Not your dialer and not any other, back office stuff you have, but what do you think your lead spend is on a monthly basis?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought this up. Like people in this industry just love to like gatekeep and just be all weird about stuff. And it's like at the end of the day, you can be the greatest salesperson in the world. And if you don't have the right systems in place and the right processes and you're just not doing things right, you're just shooting yourself in the foot. And I've only ever done this job one way, full transparency. I've never bought in a lead before. And what I mean by that is I've never like purchased leads. I've only like produced my own leads. And so what that means is like running ads on Facebook to get leads. So it's like it's way more expensive that way, but I'm big on like spend money to make money. And, I think it gives me a lot better chance to make the sale. I think that's the reason my persistency is the way that it is. I think that's the reason that I'm not having to, you know what I mean, spend like hours upon hours just to get a hold of like one person. It's like it makes my life easier in every way, shape, and form because I've decided to spend the money it takes to get whatever quality leads.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'm doing veterans. And I don't even know if like veterans in itself is just like so much better than anything else, but I do think it's important to like attack a niche just
Yes.
because like if you can structure your business around a niche, it makes people feel like, yo, this is like specifically for me and this isn't like a one size fits all. And I think that's important because it helps people not be so like hop off a call and be like, all right, now let me go check this and this and this and this and this. They're kind of like, oh, this was specifically for me and I got it and there's nothing better, like boom. So I think that's kind of the important part.
Yeah, and in that niche, I mean, with 16 million, almost 16 million veterans, adult veterans, in the US, as of last year, the year before, when the last time I looked up the number, I mean, there's plenty of them out there. People are like, oh, do you think it's going to get saturated? I'm like, dude, there's 16 million veterans. There's more than enough, and veterans have families, and veterans have spouses. So plenty out there. So, what do you think your lead spend is on a monthly range,
Oh,
Logan?
I know exactly what it
I
is.
know you know exactly what it
Yeah, yeah,
is.
yeah, yeah. You got to stay on top of what you're doing with the business, but um, it is probably about just the leads in itself. What it takes me to get the leads, it costs me about $10,000 every month.
Okay.
So it's like I'm spending
So
money.
yeah.
That scared me at
So your
first,
lead
but
expense is 10 grand. You know,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, from acquiring them to everything else. Okay, got you. Got you. And with that, so you're gonna spend, let's just say a little bit less than 150,000 on leads and dialers and stuff like that to grow somewhere close to 800K this year. That's
Yeah, I
that
suppose.
That's the
Yeah.
track you're on right now. Yeah, that's the track you're on. Amazing. As we wrap up, any persistency tips? Anything how to leave it? Do you call your clients back? Do you have a VA follow up with your clients in 72 hours, or like how do you handle like making sure that those first couple few months stay on?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I definitely think I could have better processes for this. I'm still trying to figure this all out as I go, but I'm not big on like after I've made the sale, totally like following up with people and like
Mm-hmm.
nursing them to them, like getting their policy
Yeah,
necessarily. I'm sure that would help a lot. But I think if you just do a good job with your presentation and with the wrap up, then it solves a lot of your problems. So I'll walk you guys through like exactly what I do for my wrap up. Boom,
please.
make the sale, throw a joke in there. I think everyone does this by now, but it's like, oh, got some good news and bad news for you. Like, oh, they're always like, oh, shoot. And I'm like, all right, you want the bad news first? Bad news is, looks like you're going to be stuck with me as your life insurance guy because good news is you got approved. Ha 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 ha. Boom. That in itself just like makes you human, makes them like you, makes you just like powerful, whatever. And then as soon as I tell them they're approved, I'm like, all right, Bill, like you still got that notepad in front of you. All right, I'm going to have you write down all this information. This is going to be all the important stuff you're going to need to know before you get your actual physical policy in the mail. So write this down. I have them write down their carrier. I'm like, boom. All right, so you got approved with American General. I have them write down again the coverage. I'm like, boom, 10,000 for 150. I have them write down the policy number and the effective date. And then while I'm on the phone with them, I make them like save me as a contact in their phone. Not like do this after we hop off the phone. Like, no, like do this right now. And I make them like save me in as a contact. So I'll text them and I'll just say, like, Logan, Reelfs, your life insurance guy. I'm like saving that number. I'll have them put me in as a contact. And I'm like, you got me saved in? Awesome. And Bill, I'm going to be your guy here going forward. So if you have any questions, if we ever need to update an address, phone number, beneficiary, anything like that, I'm going to be your guy. So don't hesitate to reach out. I've got your number saved in my phone as well. You got me saved in your phone. Cool. Just kind of like wrap everything up, make sure they have their
Any,
policy information, get saved
anything
in.
about referrals or anything like that, Logan?
That is when I take this thing to the next level. Is I have literally like never asked for a referral in my life, and I'm just stupid as hell. Like there's no sales job in the world that you don't ask for referrals, and like I don't know why me and none of my team do it, and like people are producing at a high level, and we are just shooting ourselves in the foot every day. So ask for
You
referrals.
guys could probably bring your next person in. They could dial every sale that you did in April and pick up, 4 dozen referrals just by calling the people. That could be that person's job, just doing referrals.
Literally. So I'm 100% dropping the ball there with that. Just to finish the wrap up though, what I always do, so, and then I'll tell them, I'll be like, all right, Bill, and what I'm going to do here, I'm going to go ahead and close out your file in the state system. That way you don't get any more calls about life insurance or anything like that. If you do get other calls, just go ahead and let them know that, Logan's got you taken care of and you're all good to go. And I don't spend like too much time trying to prep them on other people calling them, but I do want to like touch on that at least. It's like they're probably going to get another call. Someone else is going to probably try to sell them insurance. And I just try to do a good job of like having them like me and trust me and also get them the best possible thing you can get them. Because it's like if you don't get them the best price that you can offer, someone's gonna swoop in there and take your business. And so it's like we also have to be like making sure we're getting people the best of the best. And then from there, yeah, it's like things are good. Like I keep an eye on my portals, I'm making sure the payments are coming through and stuff, but I'm not like, I don't have like a follow-up system where I'm like reaching out and being like, did you get the policy and stuff? Like I'm just kind of fixing problems as they arise on the portals.
One thing that I've been doing, and that's amazing, Logan, thank you, is asking people. So now Logan Reelfs, to ensure you stop getting so many calls, I'd like to register your number on the do not call list. This will help remove 75% of those annoying phone calls you've been receiving. I'm going to go ahead and add it to the do not call registry. You'll receive an email from the government site to confirm. And then I'll click on the link that I have saved as a bookmark. I'll add their phone number. I'll add their email. And that'll put them on the do not call list, which will help stop other agents from calling in there too. So if you guys aren't doing that, I would suggest that you add that to your end of call. Like, hey, you can even ask, hey, would you want me to add you to the do not call registry so you stop getting so many phone calls? They're gonna be like, oh my gosh, could you actually do that for me? Yeah, it won't be a problem. And then click, 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 click. You add them to the do not call list, and you'll have less old, like when those leads, like they, because I'm sure they've clicked on 100 things, right, Logan? So people will stop calling. It's not going to stop everything, but it will lessen the amount of calls that they're getting. And now you're their buddy because now they're going to stop getting DirecTV, the hot tub guy, the gutter person, ATD. They're going to stop getting all these calls that they didn't opt in for, or they opted in a long time ago, but they're still calling them. So uh
That's good. That's
all
crazy.
right. Yeah, so it's do not call.gov. Let me see if I can type it in here. Hold on one second.
So,
Anyway,
so they have to like confirm that on their
I
email
don't
or
think they
something.
do. I've been
You
told
can just,
two different ways. So actually, let's test it out right now. I got to pick up my daughter in 10 minutes here, but let's test it out. Do not call.gov/register dot HTML #step. Can anyone click on that or copy and paste it and see if it works? Oh, I should have put the HTTP in front of it. Hold on, let me try it again. HTTPS:// Oh yeah, okay. So click on that. Oh, it works. So try registering yourself or somebody. Oh, it worked. Okay, cool, Heather. Nope. All right, cool. So save that as a shortcut for the 131 people that stayed on to where the real nuggets are dropped, Logan. But Logan, thank you so much. And it was great seeing you at convention. Are you going to Ignite, or you're gonna do Ignite in Florida in October?
I will learn more about that and figure out what I'm gonna do.
Yeah. Well, you're probably not going to go to the Arizona one, but yeah, hopefully you'll be at the Florida one. But cool. So guys, give Logan a follow on Instagram, first name dot last name. If you can't find him, he is at the top of the leaderboard every single month. And excited to be in business with you, bro. And thanks for sharing some nuggets with us.
Likewise. Thanks for having me, y'all. Y'all were great.
Hey guys, have an amazing week. Make it an awesome week. Let's end this thing strong. And as soon as you get your Cancun, that you made it to Cancun, make sure you register right away. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Have an amazing night. Later.